Good morning. Today I want to talk to you about a subject that is a real problem in relationships. Narcissism is a very, very hot subject today, and I feel like there's even a tendency to go kind of on this witch hunt for narcissistic behaviors. So I wanted in the beginning to explain a little bit about the narcissist and to help you to realize that when you see something in a person that is narcissistic, or maybe you even realize that a person is narcissistic, full blown, that does not mean that that person is doing all that they're doing on purpose, that they know they're a narcissist and that they've sat down and calculated, okay, decided to be a narcissist and calculated this is how I'm going to operate. So we have to go back and remember that any label like this is a psychological label that has been put on by a group of people that have determined certain characteristics that a person may have, and they've labeled it. So they've put it in a box. Okay, this person has this, this, and this, and this. So we put it in the box. What will we call this? We'll call this narcissism. And so just like anything, whether it's narcissism or autism or any other label you put out there, there's a huge spectrum. Everything plays into it. Culture plays into it. Upbringing plays into it. You know, our perceptions of life and when we were born and the order in the family that we were born, everything plays into our personality and the reasons why we may have certain characteristics. And so as we go through this video, I'd like you to think more about narcissism as something to understand so that you can recognize it and not fall victim to it. Because in a narcissistic relationship, a person that has a narcissistic relative, husband, sibling, coworker can often feel a little like they're going crazy, because one of the most defining characteristics of a true narcissist is an exaggerated sense of self-importance and self-worth. And one of the number one ways that they present their self-worth is to make others feel like they are inferior, like their opinions are stupid, like they are incapable. And so somebody that is in this relationship with a narcissist can quickly become a victim of a narcissist if they are not aware of this personality type. You know, not allow that narcissist to project their narcissistic viewpoints onto you. As we're entering the holiday season, a lot of us get together with family, and you know, it is almost humorous out there, the things that people say about, okay, it's family time. You know, people make a lot of jokes about it, but in reality, it's very, very difficult time sometimes for people to have to get together with family and friends that they, again, feel when they're with them that is just very aggravating, and they feel very dismissed among them, and like they're not important, like it eats away at their self-worth when they're with certain people. And that's because these people that you may be with that are making you feel that way have narcissistic behaviors going on. So you may recognize yourself in some of these, because all of us at some time or another, especially if we've been victims of narcissism, and especially if we were raised by a narcissistic, are going to display some narcissistic behavior. But the difference between somebody that's just going to be full-blown narcissistic and somebody that just sometimes has some narcissistic behaviors is the ability to empathize. Because a narcissist doesn't usually empathize with somebody's pain. A narcissist, for the most part, have very little expression of emotion. The most dominant emotion you will see in a narcissist is anger. And usually the anger will be extreme, and it will be directed at somebody. And they get angry whenever they feel they are challenged in any way. whether it is a rule that's being held on them, whether somebody comes to them because they need to talk to them about a problem, whatever, they get angry. And instead of dealing with the problem, they become angry, they feel defensive, and they immediately take out an arsenal of, armor that they've usually gathered about a certain person, because narcissists learn how to push buttons. They're people watchers for the sake of learning how to manipulate that person. And they want the world to revolve around them at all times. They want to feel that they are the superior. In a family dynamic, a narcissist will make the other parent feel like a child, like they are completely incapable. When the other parent, the spouse, comes to talk to them about anything, or even a child tries to talk to them about anything, they always get a defensive reaction. The narcissist deflects. Every time you come to them to talk about anything, they completely deflect it, and they'll turn it around, and it suddenly just becomes you are the sole problem of all issues and all things that are going on here. And they'll, again, get their arsenal out, and they'll take things that happened a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and they'll just start pulling all this stuff out, anything they can, just to throw at you, and you'll think, you start out just wanting to talk about this one thing that hurt you, or this one problem that you are concerned about, and all of a sudden it's this huge fight and suddenly you are just this horrible person, and you've been doing this and this and this for years, and they just have an arsenal of things that they've gathered up. And one thing I've learned about, because I have been surrounded by narcissists my whole life, and one thing that I have learned is, a narcissist, when they first get to know you, they're very flattering, and they act like they're very interested in you, and that they're good listeners, and that they even put on a display of concern. But it's not real in-depth, it's not real heart concern. What I have found that happens is a couple months down the line, you bring something up. They take those things that were very personal to you that you made, because they get you to open up. And they take things that maybe you even talked about that were weaknesses of you, and they use it, they turn around and they now use it against you. I have had the narcissists in my life take things that were so personal to me, and when I would try to just come to them about something that had nothing to do with anything I talked about to them, they brought that out to use against me and say, see, you are a problem, it's just you. And I'll be like, they wouldn't even have known that if I hadn't talked to them, shared that with them. And I've had to learn what to share and what not to share with the narcissistic people in my life. Another thing about a narcissistic person in your life is they will talk ceaselessly about their self. They love to have the attention on them. If the attention is not on them, they'll go into their own little world, or they'll leave. They'll go somewhere else. They'll leave the company, or they'll watch television or do something else where they can just shut everybody out. If the attention is not on them, on their opinions, their political opinions, their opinions about other people. They like to talk about, gossip about people behind their back, and talk about how bad these, certain people are, because it gives them, again, that sense of superiority, and I'm better than them. Narcissists have a really, really deep inferiority complex that they do not even know that they have most of the time. And that's where narcissism is born. It's born from a place of feeling at one time or another that they were worthless and that they were unimportant. And usually it's born in childhood. And one of the reasons why they don't have a lot of emotions, because usually as a child they were not allowed to express emotion for some reason or another. And it may be that they had narcissistic parents, or an overbearing parent, or it could be just the environment, the culture. Even cultures can do this, the culture that they're in. And so maybe emotions made them feel inferior, made them feel vulnerable, made them subject to punishment even. And so they learn to shut down their emotions But anger, on the other hand, a lot of narcissists learn early on that anger makes people back off. And it makes them feel strong. It makes them feel like a lion roaring. You know, most people go, whoa, the lion's roaring, right? So they learn that anger can be a very, very powerful manipulative tool against people. And it could be, they could be very boisterous in their anger, or they could be just very learning to just like, I'm just going to ignore you and I'm not going to pay any attention to you for a long time because you dared to challenge me or you dared to say something to me that made me mad. The thing is about one of the hallmarks of being a victim of narcissism is you're constantly questioning yourself. You're constantly going, what I do? So anyways, anytime you bring something to the narcissist, they're basically going to deflect off themselves. They're going to bring out their arsenal of it was all you. You're always the problem. They'll usually deflect off the problem itself. They won't even talk about it. They'll just start shifting it to everything you've ever done wrong, and pretty soon the whole subject that you even brought is completely drowned out by you're a problem in this relationship and it's all you and you're never happy, and they'll just, you know, make you feel like you are completely a problem. Another thing about a narcissist is they are rule breakers. They do not like laws. They do not like rules. Which is okay to, it's always okay to question laws and rules, right? But they don't like to be held under anything. A lot of narcissists often have affairs because they don't mind the rules of marriage, you know? They don't respect people's boundaries. A narcissistic parent and a narcissistic sibling will always make you feel like you're a child. They will never treat you like an adult. Even when they're being nice, the way they talk to you is down to you. Like, oh, that's so cute. Oh, wow, you did that? Okay, now let's talk about me. Oh, you know, and they love to point out things that you need to do to take care of yourself, to take care of your health, to take care of your, you know, your life. They're always trying to give you advice, and just so they can be in this place of, you know what, you need to listen to me because I'm the superior and I know better than you. And they never treat you like an adult. And so when you're around them, you often feel, you know, minimized. Another thing is that even when you do share something about yourself, they're very dismissing. If you have something you want to share, they might go, huh, you know, but they won't usually have a lot to add to it, or because they're not really entering in anything that you're interested in if they're not interested in it too. What happens is a lot of times victims of narcissists learn to dance around what they know the narcissist wants to talk about. So before they ever get together with them, they start thinking about ahead of time, what kind of subjects, what kind of things can I, you know, and they sometimes do this subconsciously. What kind of things can I talk about that'll be interesting to the narcissist? Because the narcissist wants everything to be about what they're interested in and about them and centered on them. And if it's not, they're bored. They don't want to be with you. You're not good enough. A narcissist spouse will often, if you have somebody, friends and family that they don't care for, maybe somebody that gets upset with them or they have a conflict with, they will work to cut you off of that relationship. They'll move you away from them. They'll talk bad about them. They'll do anything they can to cause you to sever that relationship. A narcissistic friend will do that as well. If they don't like somebody that you hang with, they'll start saying things and pointing out things to you about how bad that person is. Narcissists are all about control and let everything be centered on me. Every once in a while, they'll act like they're interested in something you have to say, and they listen a minute, and then they get back onto themselves again. It has to be about them all the time. They don't really know how to enter into another person's life and world with empathy, because they're self-centered. They have such deep needs that they have never, ever, ever acknowledged and sought to truly have rectified. And so they're seeking it in unhealthy ways, and most of the time they're not even aware of it. And the best thing that you can do as somebody that becomes aware of somebody that's narcissistic with you, whether it's a spouse, if they're abusive, most of the time it's best to just get out of that relationship. Another thing a spouse will do is they don't want you to be independent. They want you to depend on them, and then at the same time they make you feel stupid for being dependent on them. They want to control your life. They want to control the money that you spend. They want to control the way you raise the kids, the people that you hang out with. They want to control everything about you. As soon as you are onto them and you start becoming more independent, they all of a sudden will either fight that with anger, and if they see that that's not working, then they'll get very mushy and go back into that that dating time where they try to be really nice and do all the nice things for you and flatter you, make you realize what a great person you are with. And so it's really, really important to be aware of it, because your biggest defense against a narcissist is your autonomy. Your ability to separate yourself from them, to deflect everything that they're trying to project onto you. Not just deflect it like in a defensive way, but to know deep down inside that they have something to say about you, like you're the problem. You can automatically know that's his narcissistic thinking, and you don't even have to take care of it. That's the thing, is so important, is you are not responsible for your narcissistic relatives. You're never responsible for their emotions and for their opinions and for their reactions. You're not responsible for that, and to really know that. And sometimes when you've been a victim of a narcissist, it's really important to seek out a therapist and somebody that you can talk about that will help you build up your own self-esteem and self-confidence again, because a narcissist is the master manipulator at tearing down your self-esteem and tearing down your ability to have confidence in your capability and be able to take care of yourself. They don't want you to be able to take care of yourself. They want you dependent, and then they make you feel bad for being dependent. They act like they want you to be dependent, but they don't, because you'll see as soon as you start becoming independent, they start acting different. You'll see the change. So as you're entering in to the holiday season, or any other time during the year where you're going to be around people that are demeaning, before you go to be around these relatives, you can decide, number one, that you're not going to be around them. That's a decision that if you feel like it's just too much and I can't even fight this right now, it just puts me all in knots by the time I'm done, excuse yourself. I'm not going to make it. You don't have to give them a reason why. That's important, as you don't have to give reasons why you say no to people. You can just say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make it. And if they say why, say because I'm unable to. And, that's just between me and myself and I. If you have to be blunt with them, say none of your business, but I'm not going to make it. But most of the time, unless they've really, really crossed boundaries with you, they'll just, okay, she didn't make it, Yeah, they may gossip about you while you're gone, but you know what they have to say and their opinions about you, whatever, you just got to let go and know that whatever they say about you is not true. The times that it's going to hurt you and it's really going to affect you is if there's in some way there is an agreement that you have with their opinions of you. You've come to value yourself so little or see yourself in such a low light that deep down inside there is an agreement, and it hurts. And that's when therapy can help you with that type of thing. One of the characteristics of narcissistic type families, okay, so if you are a sibling, or you're going to be around brothers and sisters and you had narcissistic parents and there's narcissism all through your family, one of the big characteristics of it is the love bombing. They always have a scapegoat. So they always have somebody in the family that they get to all talk about when they're together, and they love it. They can't wait to have that subject of that person that's their scapegoat, that they can all say, see, we're so superior and that person's so bad, and you know what I heard, and you know what's going on now, blah, 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 blah. And that's just like, they feed off that because it makes them feel so much more superior. Narcissism feeds on being able to feel superior over other people. They get their strength from that. So be aware of that when you're in that family dynamic. Be aware that if you're not there and you start breaking away from that family dynamic, you're going to become that scapegoat that they gossip about. When you don't do things their way, they can't wait to talk about you behind your back and make you sound like, to everybody else, like you're just this horrible, stupid person that practically doesn't even deserve to be alive. So just be aware that that goes on. One of the ways you can absolutely know that you're dealing with narcissistic people is when they continuously, no matter what you do or say or how you be, they make you feel inferior and they overstep your boundaries. They are constantly doing and saying things that you wouldn't normally do and say as an adult to another autonomous adult. So those are some things to look out after, gird yourself up in, be prepared for, and to make decisions based on. Maybe this year I'm just not going to go to that family gathering or that work gathering or whatever because I am dealing with this and I do not want to deal with this right now, or I need to see, talk to somebody more about this and get stronger before I continue to deal with this any longer. If this was helpful for you, I would sure appreciate just a really quick like on my video and subscribe. Please subscribe because I'm going to be doing more videos like this in the future, and I'm going to be giving you some life hacks to help you to grow confident and to have self-love and self-care really strong so that you can live a healthy, happy, fulfilling life. That's what we all want, right? Okay, we'll talk to you later.